man is back.
Oh, okay, boys. Oh my gosh, the man got that stuff. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the leopard.
This is your boy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash, the True Inferno. Back at it with another Call of Duty Black Ops 6 commentary video gameplay for you guys, and Draymond Green is at it again. Well, here's the difference now. Now he's the main topic here in one of my videos. Normally, he would be not the main topic, but he will add on from a distance, so to speak, whatever the case may be. But now he's the main topic here. Why? Because he went on to say that the past players, the players who played in the NBA in the past, don't respect the current generation. And he went on to explain, or he went on to say that he don't respect them. So I'm not going to try and mince words. I'm not going to try and, like, I guess, fabricate what he said. I'm just going to play a snippet from the Draymond Green show. I don't know when this episode came out, but here's what was said regarding the lack of respect from the former players towards the current players. Check this out.
People say you must respect each era, but the past eras don't respect this era.
I don't think that's true.
Shit, me. You don't see some of the things these guys say?
The respect from the old is really, do the young dudes fuck with us? Do they know who we are? That's why you get a lot of hate from the older generation, because they just want to be kept alive. One era always think that the other era is sorry until you leave the game and have an appreciation for the talent that you had to play against.
I disagree in the fact that, no, like these eras don't respect us. Like I've seen several guys talk over and over and over again, not in a positive light. I don't think that respect is passed down to us from the other generations, but I think people are quick to say, oh, you got to respect them because they came before. I don't agree with that.
You absolutely have to absolutely respect the people who came before you, because
my respect is earned. And what you did to somebody else don't necessarily earn you respect. Just because you played before me does not mean you deserve respect. I'm sorry, but God had in his plan for you to be born before me and you just deserve respect because of that? Nah, my mom ain't raised me that way. Respect is earned.
Okay, so once again, we have another scenario where Draymond goes on to say something, but doesn't explain the why, but doesn't brings up the why, which is why I question his future in this business as a media member, as a podcaster, whatever the case may be. Because again, he likes to talk out of his ass. That's basically what he's doing. If you're saying something, but you don't explain why, if you want people to take you seriously, you're basically talking out your ass. And that's basically what Draymond Green is doing here. So here's the thing. Now, in terms of him saying that the generations, it's not just one, the generations that came before him don't respect the current generation, to a degree, he have a point. It's not that he's wrong, but the main problem is he doesn't explain why. Why is it that he feel that the older generation, or the generations, because it's more than one, that came before him don't respect the current era, don't respect the current generation? Maybe because you guys trash talk them. I mean, who was it that said outside of Michael Jordan, there really was no skilled players back in the day until Kobe showed up? That was Anthony Edwards. That's somebody from this current generation. Who's the guy that said the product is boring that led to Oscar Robertson coming at them? Oh, that just so happened to be the same guy who was trash talking the older generation now. That would be Draymond Green. Who was the guy that said, oh, if Giannis were playing in the 70s, he would score 250 points? Whether I don't remember he said average or score 250 points in one game. Either way, he said Giannis scoring 250 points in the 70s era. That would be LeBron James, who is a part of this generation. And you see why the lack of respect is there is because the current generation is trash talking him. they trash talking them. Now, I don't know which came first. Obviously, you got the likes of Charles and Shaq, who came from previous generations, and they talking about the current players and stuff like that. Well, their job is to analyze the current product, to analyze the current game. So as long as they're not talking about what your baby mama's doing or what your kids doing, whatever the case may be, what you're doing on the court, yeah, it's within their right, it's within their job description to analyze and critique your game. So, yeah, there's that. Now, there's obviously they're funny. There's some things that they get wrong. Like, for example, Shaq don't know the name of the head coach for the Detroit Pistons, and he called Detroit Pistons boring, or whatever the case may be. We can we can cringe at that. Me being from Detroit, stuff. And I can look at it and say, oh, he just salty because the Golden State Pistons ended the Shaq and Kobe era. So I can look at it and say, yeah, he just salty because of that. But besides that, the bottom line is this. I'll be honest. I don't know who started the trash talking first between the current era and the errors that came before them. But here's the problem, though, that the current era needs to understand. And that is that. And this is where Draymond is wrong for talking about, oh, he don't respect the guys that played before him. Like, bro, are you not aware of what these guys went through before you even was born? Before you were even touching a basketball? Like, yo, there was a topic, going back to the whole Oscar Robertson situation. Oscar Robertson went through so much stuff. If it wasn't for Oscar Robertson, there wouldn't be a thing called free agency. That wouldn't be a thing. If you were picked up by a team, you were devoted to that team. Like, flat out, unless the team dropped you. That's how it was back then. Like, the amount of money, never mind the fact that these players nowadays are making so much more money than what players were making back in the day. Like Michael Jordan is, in my opinion, he's the greatest basketball player of all time. And I want to say every single superstar in the league right now got an NBA contract that was worth more than Jordan's NBA contract. Every single one of them. And if you were looking at, oh, wow, Jordan's the greatest player of all time, so his contract should have been much higher, right? Well, you would think, but no, that's not how it was. Because the money that was given out back then wasn't as high as it is now. And this current generation needs to thank them for that. That's number one. Number two, all the freedoms that they had. Because remember, back in the day, they were playing 82 games, 81 games, 80 games, 79, 78 games. Now, the maximum is 60, I guess, 65, or whatever the case may be. They got load management. They take games off, whether it's them deciding now or the head coach or the general manager or the team doctor, whatever the case may be. They don't have to play hurt or injured, whatever the case may be, like the older players did back in the day. There's so much stuff that this current generation do not have to go through on the court, off the court, when it's involved basketball in the NBA. Like, it's just so much. And it's like, bro, you got to appreciate them for putting you in a position where you don't have to deal with all the bullshit that they had to deal with. And you know what's funny? This was actually a wrestling storyline back in TNA when it was the Main Event Mafia against the TNA Frontline. Because AJ Styles was complaining about how these guys like Sting and Kurt Angle and Kevin Nash and Booker T just showed up and they wanted respect, even though guys like AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Chris McDaniels, they're the one who built TNA, but the guys who they were complaining about, they kind of built wrestling. So it's like, yeah, we can understand you don't want to give them respect because they wasn't here when TNA first got started. They wasn't here to build TNA, but at the same time, without them, they wouldn't be in TNA. Wrestling wouldn't be what it is without them. So it is like that now. Like, you have to look at the guys like Magic and Isaiah and Kareem and Wilt and Kevin Johnson and be like, yo, if it wasn't for these guys, I wouldn't be making the money that I'm making now. I wouldn't be playing so physical like it was back in the day. I wouldn't be playing hurt like they did. And I wouldn't have to go through all the financial bullshit that they went through back in the day in terms of low pay in comparison to what it is now, amongst other stuff involving contracts, free agencies, and It was basically like a civil rights movement, but within the NBA back in the day. And there was certain players like Oscar Robertson who took a stance. It was like, no, this ain't right. We need to change this shit right now. And yeah, guys like Draymond needs to appreciate them and respect them for that. Because if it wasn't for them doing that, would you imagine how much money they'll be making? Not much. Would you imagine them doing low management? That wouldn't even exist. Would you imagine the rule change and the style of the game changes to the point where it's not as physical and offense is like flowing like that? Oh, guys, no. We would still be seeing games with the final score being like 74-66. I'm dead serious, though. I'm not complaining because, like I said, I'm a defensive guy. I love good defense, so I would love those type of games. But you wouldn't want to see that. Y'all would not want to see that. So the bottom line is this. Like, you got to respect the generation that came before you, because all the stuff that you have right now, it wouldn't be a thing if it wasn't for the guys that came before you. So Draymond, yeah, he need to change his tune real quick, and he need to respect the guys that came before him. And that's despite whether they respect him or not. And does Draymond deserve? Yeah, he deserves respect. I mean, this dude's a multi-time NBA champion. He's a defensive specialist. Like, this dude is going to the Hall of Fame. Like, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one if we were to say, yo, if Draymond one of the top 10 defensive players of all time, he would be in the conversation. He would be in the conversation. I don't know if he would be top 10, but he would be in the conversation. And if anybody would have put him top 10, I would not complain at all. I would not complain at all. Because it's a tough one to call. If you say he is, cool. If you say he ain't, cool. But it's a tough one to call. That's how great Draymond is in terms of him as a basketball player. But comments like this, it's like, nah, bro, you need to educate yourself on what the game was like back in the day, on the court and behind the scenes. Not off the court, but behind the scenes. Because it was a war zone behind the scenes in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And probably the 90s. So, yeah, man, he need to smarten up big time. He needs to smarten up big time. And once again, he needs to stop talking out of his ass. And he needs to say why he feels the way he feels about certain topics. Why he felt that this year's All-Star weekend was trash. Why do he feel that the older generation don't respect the newer generation? Yeah, he needs to say the why. He needs to say the why. And that's all I got on that. I'm going to call it a wrap now. So with all that said, y'all know who this is. This is boy New Jay Gatsby, a.k.a. New Steve Nate Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.